What's up, guys? We're at Past Pop Culture. My name is Rick. It's my co-host here, Mr. Fen.
Howdy.
And then we got a couple guests with us, our cousins, Angel and Chris.
Yo, what up?
You can't see them, but just imagine them with you.
You're not missing
But anyways.
Imagination. See,
Yes.
I could be in their podcast and not yell.
Anyways, so we're going to be talking about our top movies of the year for 2023. And then we're just going to have just a general open discussion, basically about everything we saw, kind of like a state of the industry kind of thing. Just maybe go through, because I know a lot on the podcast we talk about, well, do we think movies is kind of failing? For me, I think yes. We were kind of discussing about, well, what kind of like big hitters were there, right? Like Angel was mentioning, well, you had the Godzilla, you had John Wick, you had the Spider-Man movie, right? So there's a lot of things, but even like, well, Godzilla wasn't a huge like big budget movie, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing where it's like, and then Spider-Man animated usually doesn't get a lot of legitimacy in the industry. They always kind of like brush it under the rug, like, oh, this is for kids. So really, like, I mean, Oppenheimer, there was Barbie, right? There's a lot of things going on. But all right, I think we'll just start off with Angel here. We'll go alphabetical order. Favorite movie of the year, go.
Favorite movie? That's kind of hard, not gonna lie. I'm honestly kind of stuck between Godzilla, that one. Uh, Honestly, besides the Spider-Man movie, no, kind of teasing at the end because I didn't know to be a part two, which kind of pissed me off. Like, the part two.
Yeah.
Besides that, it was really good. But not gonna lie, there was a Netflix movie called Leo with M. Sandler, dude. Like, I gotta say that movie was so freaking good. Like,
Are you kidding me?
No, dude, I'm straight being serious. I actually enjoyed that movie from beginning.
That's
to
the
end.
lizard one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Bill
heard that was a
Burr's in it.
sleeper hit.
Yeah, Bill Burr was in it too. Like, dude, like you think it's a kids movie, but the amount of like adult stuff that's in there, like adult jokes, just like a lot, like, and then like it also hits to a lot of stuff that we grew up to, like, oh, these kids are missing this, blah blah blah, or like, and for kids, it was really good in like showing them like different like stuff that they go through. Like, doesn't matter who you are, and they did a really good view where they weren't like shoving in your face. It wasn't like there wasn't forced humor. It was actually a very very well planned movie and thought out. The animation was good. Like, it surprised me. I was like, dude, this movie is actually really really good. But yeah, like, and then. And of course, there's Cocaine Bear,
Yes.
Oh,
like
the pinnacle of cinema.
Hey, it was based off a real event. A bear ate a pound of cocaine and was the most fierce beast for 5 minutes. But like, they put that in a whole movie, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah, the whole event actually lasted 5 minutes, and they made a full movie out of it. Hey, man, they got to get creative, I guess.
Yeah, but I thought that was good. I think honestly, I think probably between Leo and the Godzilla. That's probably my top movie of the year.
I like the lizard theme.
Yeah, is your favorite lizard or what?
Oh, I guess so. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, you didn't see that. Yeah.
I mean, like, don't get like Blue Beetle was really good.
What about the Flash?
Anyways, Chris, you want to talk about
the best movie of the year was The Little Mermaid.
Oh my
Just
God.
kidding.
Oh my God! I thought you were serious.
I was like, oh, I was like, please.
No,
elaborate.
Utter garbage. But real number one for me would be Oppenheimer. I mean, you're talking about one of the biggest historical events in quite literally world history that changed the face of, well, how we operate today and like world power, and seeing how it all developed, and technically in such a short amount of time, and like the teamwork that ended up needing to happen. And my number two, I would probably have to put, it's an anime movie, but The Boy and the Heron.
Okay.
However you pronounce that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So when you're watching it before you know like the backstory, it's not gonna make a lot of sense because it is pretty choppy in the fact that like it's you're kind of moving all over the place and you don't really understand what's going on. But it's actually a perspective of a nuclear warhead survivor, like someone that saw both bombs drop as a child.
Oh,
And so he actually put this like the feelings that he was going through into the movie and how he was trying to deal with the trauma of like what was going on from a young adolescent to his teenage years and to his adult years and everything.
Is it kind of
So
like Graveyard of Fireflies?
kind of, except it's for children, so it's a little bit
Yeah.
more
Okay.
lighthearted than that.
Okay.
But still,
Nothing
still
like
really
nuclear warfare to spend time with the children. Yeah.
exactly, you know. And number three is pretty hard. I mean, I would either have like I would put Godzilla on my list personally.
really?
That
That's
or
number
Spider
three.
Man. Yeah, let's tie Spider Man and Godzilla there.
Okay, that's good choices. And then Fen.
Interesting. Okay, so I've watched quite a few movies this year, but oddly enough, my top three is pretty much the end of the year. So I would say my number one is Godzilla minus one. That movie absolutely surprised me. I'm a fan of Godzilla, so I was like my mom or whatever. But I could be biased because it's Japanese or whatever. But I haven't seen a Godzilla movie that has like so much heart in like quite a while, and it's like it's a completely redone. It's separate from what is it, the MonsterVerse that we have now? What is it called?
The Monster.
Yeah,
God
MonsterVerse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
he
those are
has a
those are
baby.
yeah, those
Good
are good
movie.
movies, as like, oh yeah, just smash building. But like this one was just like,
The story
I don't
was
know.
great.
Yeah, like I cried. I'm not gonna lie, but it was just phenomenal. And it's like with such a low budget that they had, it was like barely 15 million, and they made this masterpiece. It's just like I applaud them like tenfold. That's like my number one by like far. My number two would be Wonka.
Really?
Really?
Interesting. Okay.
I haven't seen it. I've been
I haven't
wanting to
watched
see
it
Okay.
it. Was it?
Okay, so I wanted to watch it just because it's like, Willy Wonka,
Willy
like the
Wonka.
prequel.
Yeah.
It's a prequel. But I did not know it was a musical. I don't know why I didn't think it was going to be a musical. But when I like it starts off like singing and everything, and it's like I have a soft spot for music, like movies. And this whole year was like decent in the movies, but it's just like your typical superhero, blah 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 blah. But I felt like Wonka, it was like the first movie in quite a long time that like you left feeling like happy, and like it gave you hope because they showed his whole like life story before he became Willy Wonka, and it's like I'm not gonna spoil it because I do recommend watching it, but it's just like how he started from nothing and then he started to become Wonka, and it's like a lot of movies don't really touch on the feeling of like hopelessness and then like pushing through to like have hope. Like it was a very very feels good,
Did
man.
they kind of change the backstory? Because I remember in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory
With
when
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp, they kind of touched on his backstory a little bit. Is
They
it-
didn't. No, they didn't really change much.
Like how like his parents forced like was a dentist and like all that stuff, and he's like,
Oh yeah, they. I mean, they didn't talk about that, but they did
Okay.
mention like his parents and like what happened with his parents, and like why he's doing chocolate and why he's wants to make his own like factory and everything. So they do kind of cover that, and
Okay.
like, yeah, it was out of the three Wonka movies, that's like my top one. But again, I have a soft spot for musicals. I don't know if you guys like musicals, but if you feel like you want some hope in your life, watch
Yeah, like-
Wonka.
Kind of like Cats.
Yeah, no. Cats has I mean I can't speak on that because I only watched 5 minutes of it and I immediately turned it off. That's the first movie in my life that I've turned off, by the way. Yeah, and then my number three is obviously Oppenheimer. Like 3 hours of just pure epicness, and my ears were getting blown off with the sound, and yeah, it was just a masterpiece.
I'm surprised you didn't say Barbie.
That's number four.
That's the
Mm, Okay.
What's wrong with Barbie, first of all?
Yeah, it's just kind of funny.
Let's go party. Let's go party.
Exactly.
Oh, that song.
All right, there we go. Now we can't put it on YouTube. We'll get
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, it was less than 30 seconds. Oh, it was
Alright.
less than 30 or 10
Slightly
seconds,
off
whatever.
tune.
He's saying it not very well on purpose. No, but
Exactly,
from-
on purpose. Yes.
yeah. Well, I don't know. For me, I would say I think I enjoyed John Wick. I think honestly, for me, I think it was the action movies for me this year. So like John Wick, I really enjoyed the Mission Impossible movie that came out this year. It was just pure action. It wasn't a lot of like fluff where they're trying to get you to care about stuff. It's just Mission Impossible. They're doing an impossible mission. It's fun. It was a really good, and it had a good story in it actually. And if I haven't really been keeping up with the Mission Impossible movies, but I was able to jump right in and like continue the story because I kind of like sporadically watch the movies. But John Wick is probably my favorite. For number one, I would say actually, you know what I enjoyed was The Creator. I'm not sure if anyone saw that one.
I saw it like 2 days ago.
Yeah, so did you like that one?
I did. It was like I remember you saying it was like the same but different, and I completely agree. And it is a refreshing take on like something somewhat new in sci-fi. Like 100%
Yeah, so that one I really like the way that the technology was implemented, how things felt like a little bit more of a step towards reality when they were demonstrating kind of stuff, or maybe not a step towards reality, but like that you felt like it was real, like it was actually taking place in the future, like a potential future, rather than going like too off the rails. I really enjoyed it. The end actually did make me kind of like, ooh, I got hit in the feels right there.
Yeah.
And so I hadn't had that happen in like in a minute. Maybe it was just the mood that I was in or something. But yeah, like I think for me, John Wick 4, I would say it's a toss up between The Creator and Mission Impossible. And I did enjoy Spider-Man. It was really good, but how do I word it? I kind of like the first Spider-Man better. I don't know how to word it. I kind of enjoyed it a little bit more. Maybe it was just I was in a different mindset back then or whatever.
No, I will admit the second one, I did feel like that they dragged out parts that did not need to be dragged out.
I think
Like,
it's because
feel like-
there's a part 2.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
probably
that's
Like,
what it is,
yeah,
and that's
it's still
and that's
not.
why I can't really put it in my top movie because I'm like, oh well, like the story's not really done, so it's a little bit harder to be like, oh, this is cool. I mean, Mission Impossible 2 was also not like completed. There's a continuing story for it, but I don't know. Like, I do feel like the Mission Impossible movies are typically fairly self-contained, where you're kind of satisfied if you don't end up watching the next movie, or if you didn't watch the movie before, you can kind of just pick up. So, I don't know, but I did enjoy Spider-Man. It was probably one of the better movies to come out in general. I think in animation it did really well. Story-wise, yeah, I do feel like it was lacking in some places where I feel like the first one had a little bit more of like spit and polish to it, rather the second one you can tell that they kind of had some problems that they did. And then now we're moving on to this next one, which I don't know, they had to delay the second movie I don't know how many times, right? They had to delay it a few times here and there.
Because of the strike or whatever.
Yeah, so you can kind of tell like there was weak points and there was like parts where I can't really remember off the top of my head where it did kind of falter here and there where it wasn't as tight. But I think overall it still deserves a spot. So that's kind of like John Wick's my number one, and then those ones are kind of meshed somewhere in there between like 2 to 4, you know, those slots. I really, it just depends what mood I'm in where I can kind of categorize it. But John Wick 4 definitely was just phenomenal for me. I enjoyed it. It was just the adventure all the way through, the way they shot things, right? Like basically the Hotline Miami scene, right? Like one of the favorite scenes. You got the camera rotating. It was really good. It scratches that action itch. And yeah, I mean, to me, it was a good ending. I know some people didn't like it. I thought like, okay, you know what? He's dead. But they're doing a follow-up or a prequel or something. They're doing something more with the universe, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but at least for me personally, like, hey, if it goes downhill, I can just say, you know what? I enjoyed 1 through 4, right? Kind of like with Spider-Man, right? No Way Home. I can be like, the Marvel Universe, dead to me past this point, you know, where I can be like, yes, but I got what I wanted. You know what I mean? Like, all this is just kind of whatever. And that's kind of leading me on to what the next thing I want to talk about is how superhero movies this year just died, right? Like, just they were going down. They were going down. People were talking about, hey, you know, we're faltering. We're not making enough money. And then this year, was it the Marvels, Blue Beetle, Aquaman,
Flash.
Flash, Shazam, right? A good amount of movies came out, and all of them bombed. I want to say
Yeah, every single one.
every single superhero movie bombed. So, what do you guys think? Is it superhero movies are dead? Is it just incompetency, a mixture, oversaturation? Like, what is it? What do you guys think is going on with the, I guess, superhero genre? Is it kind of going like the way of the cowboy, you know, movies where
No,
westerns are kind of
I
niche?
think the movie industry was pulling a not gonna lie Disney move and was trying to please everyone too much instead of just staying true to the actual story. You
Mhm.
know, like I feel like they were just adding things, changing things that didn't really need to be changed or it didn't make sense to change it. Like, or they're like mixing stories that don't should be mixed together or like putting something way too early than it should be.
hmm
You
Mhm.
know, that's what I'm thinking. I think they're just trying to see what can make a quick buck, and that's it. They're not putting the actual time and like when from what I've been hearing, like directors like Zack Snyder, when they do try to do it, stay true to the actual story, it's met with a lot of criticism because one, a lot of people have not actually read the comics, so they're not, you know, as don't
Familiar with
take
the
it.
material?
Yeah, exactly. Or like during like first the amount of people that rip on Man of Steel, I have no idea real why. Like he's on Superman. I'm like, yeah, he's not Superman yet. He's man. He's becoming. This is how he becomes Superman. And like they threw a lot of Easter eggs from like other stuff, and that's what I like. I know Chris liked a lot too. And but people who did know the comics were bashing on it, and so that's why I feel like that's when they started turning away from the actual source into trying to follow what Marvel was doing and
Mm.
bringing in the money first. But then they started Marvel started I feel like Marvel started trying to please everyone too much,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and which then brought them their downfall.
hmm
And then uh and then DC, they I feel like they were on a solid path, but then it was due to the general public kind of forced DC into turning into Marvel, which then kind of hurt them at the very end. Because now Marvel is doing what DC was originally doing, making almost 3-hour movies that are somewhat dark.
Yeah.
And well, guess what? Everyone's loving it. Almost like that's what DC was doing first, and you guys were hating on it. So I'm just like, I think that's what the majority was. It was just they were just trying to do the quick buck, and now people are like fans actually got into the actual characters are not happy with what they're being done, you know.
Hmm.
So I think that's the reason like it's dying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
I mean, definitely the whole people pleaser thing. I definitely, especially in the comic book industry, like I do see that, and it sucks because they're starting. It's not just in the movies, but that's starting to leak into the comics themselves, and they're changing things that for a long time that like parts of them that make them like a hero. They're changing the identities to please certain demographics of people, and because of their history it doesn't make any sense. Like
Mm.
if we're looking more on the animated side, right, like normally for me DC puts out some of the best animated films ever, right,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
like by
No
far.
question.
But the thing is the past few movies have been such lackluster, it's been frustrating. And like if you look at Batman Hush, right?
Oh, that was such a good movie.
And that film, and that one film by itself, you no wait, Angel, you said that was good.
Oh, I liked it,
So
but I didn't. Again, I don't know. I don't know the actual story of Rush. That's the reason why I
okay,
don't know the full
so
story.
in the movie, Hush was actually the Riddler, right? Well,
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
yeah, in the movie, Hush was the Riddler. But in the comics, Hush was one of Bruce Wayne's best friends, right?
Mm.
That's what I
And like
thought. Okay,
Interesting.
that's what I
it
thought.
it didn't make like so the hatred that Hush had for Batman didn't make sense to me. And then if you look on the DC Titans, like, what HBO was doing,
Hmm.
um they changed Tim Drake, right?
Hmm.
So Tim Drake is a Drake, as in they're a wealthy family, right? Like one of the wealthiest families in Gotham. Period. And yet in Titans they made him a, which is, if you wanted to make someone biracial, whatever. But the fact that they made him biracial and poor, like dirt poor, like his family could barely put food on the table, and then his connection with Batman from there, it just didn't make any sense. You
Mm.
know, so it's almost like if you're gonna make Magneto, like, not be Jewish.
Yeah, that will make zero
You-
sense. Yeah,
you
that's
know,
this whole thing. This whole character.
So it's
and,
it's
and
mainly that they're like changing, I guess, the roots of, like you said, like the whoever the character is. They're just like
Mhm.
yeah,
taking
yeah,
out
they're
the most
changing it,
important details and changing them.
exactly, and like it almost like it ruins the foundation, and like with anything, if the foundation's ruined, the rest of the everything else that follows is going to be crap,
Yeah.
right? So it's even like the fact that, what was it, for Marvel, Bucky and Falcon and Bucky, whatever that show was called.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The fact that Falcon ends up becoming Captain America and not Bucky was kind of like a slap in the face, because Bucky is actually the one that takes on the mantle first,
Hmm.
right? I mean, he beats the crap out of the Punisher in the comics because the Punisher took on the mantle and started murking people like
Bro,
left and right.
that was
And then
so good.
and then Bucky came in, put him in his place, and took the mantle, because that's not what Captain America stood for.
Right.
So you have all these, I don't know. I feel like they make too many unnecessary changes just to appease. Like, honestly, they're trying to appease a demographic of people that wouldn't be interested in seeing these movies or shows
Yeah,
in
they
the
don't
first
even
place.
care, right?
You know, yeah. So like, I understand you want to broaden your base, which is fine, but at the end of the day, you have to look at your core base, what they've been reading, what they've been enjoying, and
Mhm.
then be like, oh, you know what? Let's keep this, but I want to add this, and it's not going to change who this person is. You
Mm.
know,
Like, I think the best examples currently that's coming out right now is Invincible.
oh, Invincible's
Like,
fantastic.
yeah, like I haven't read the comics, but even comic readers, like when I've been have nothing, almost nothing, like nothing bad to say. They're like, I fucking love this show. You
Mhm.
know, it's staying true to the story, and guess what? People are enjoying it. You know, like everyone who's like, oh, every time people's like, oh, have you heard of The Boys? You should watch Invincible, and vice versa. You know, like I think like The Boys and The Invincible are probably the best superhero stuff coming out like in that's came out in the last few years. You
Mm.
know,
Mm. I see
like
what you're saying though, Chris, though, about that, because what I was gonna just hop in before we change the subject was that I think what it is that there's a lot of like self-insertion into the story, if that makes sense, where they they change things so that it reflects more the writer's personality. Like if they're writing, let's say Batman, they're not writing, they're not saying, hey, this is what Batman would do. They're saying, oh, well, if I was Batman, this is what I would do. Right? Like I've noticed that more and more in stories, we tend to kind of self-insert and just be like, well, no, this is what I do. And I think that's why a lot of like where Marvel's failing right now with its characters is that they feel very like self-inserts for the writer, and they don't really feel like they're actually representing the character fairly. And
Mm.
it's just, oh, this is just what I would do. And people don't care what this random writer would do. They care about what the character would do, how they would respond to what's going on. And I think it kind of leads to a lot of characters making these weird decisions that are just out of line that you would normally see them do. And I think that's really what it is for me. That's what it kind of seems like, because when I write something, or when when I'm watching something and then they say something out of line, it just feels like, oh, it's just something that the writer wants us to know,
Okay, I see what
rather
you're saying
than
now.
like we're exploring that through the characters. And I think that's where the weakness a lot of these characters are coming from when they're changing things. It's more like they want them to just like, oh, we want to color in these boxes, right? Like, okay, this, and that, rather than like, well, let's look at this character. What would they do? What is their personality type? What can we draw from their history, right? Like, and because we watched like the Guardians movie, right? The Guardians of the Galaxy movie. It was really well written. And I was like really emotional watching that, because it was like, wow, I'm crying over this raccoon, right?
Mhm.
But when you watch something like, well, She-Hulk, right? It felt like a self-insert. It felt like a boss girl self-insert, and it came
Yeah.
off as kind of cringe. And it's like, yeah, well, I'm trying to be a little polite here, but not to say that James Gunn doesn't like self-insert, because you can kind of tell at times here and there, but at least it's funny. She-Hulk just kind of came off just like, what is this? And they tried doing that whole meta, like, oh, well, actually, let's look behind the curtain kind of thing. And it just felt like
So
they thought they were a lot smarter than what they were, and it's a self-insert kind of thing. So it just felt kind of awkward and weird, right? Whereas like, it just felt kind of like meh, like mushy, like the character had no bite or anything. It was just like a conglomeration of what the writers were thinking or wanted it to be, not what the character actually is. So you've kind of seen that kind of just play out a lot. And I think that's just what really is what we've been led to, rather than, I mean, it's the studios too. They're just making weird decisions, right? I mean, future speaking, we got James Gunn, right?
about to
Where
ask that,
he's
yeah.
going to be doing DC. I kind of want your guys' opinion on that. Do you think he's going to do well? Do you think he's just not going to be able to handle orchestrating a whole universe, really a multiverse, right?
I don't think he's the right mindset for DC. Like, because
Yeah.
DC is, I'm sorry, is not childish at all. Yeah, we have childish characters like Flash, Shazam, Blue Beetle. Like, yeah, there are the Elastic Man. Yeah, there are funny-ish, kiddish characters, but overall, the theme is very adult. It's dark.
Okay.
Like Flash, like his stuff is actually super dark. Like yeah, he's always like the cheerful, like the very. I described Flash as the heart of the Justice, like he's the heart of the Justice League, because in every universe or multiverse, whatever, every time he dies, the whole Justice League just goes dark. And I don't see James Gunn doing that. I don't see him being like bring the adult. I feel like he will force unnecessary humor in places that do not belong. Like when the fights get serious, like I don't know. I have a feeling like when we have Superman versus Zod, I feel like there at one point he would throw some comedy relief in there when
Yeah,
there
like
shouldn't
some
be.
kind of campy joke.
You think so?
Yeah. Realistically, dude, like
I mean, like even in the Avengers movies, you have to like Hulk did some so like Hulk, like
That's
like
the
you see some
thing.
corny
I'm always
things.
mad, and then turns into
Oh,
Hulk,
Yeah,
and then
yeah, like
Hulk
you don't
fetch.
you don't
Hands
have that
taco.
stuff. They're just fighting the entire time. They're not talking and fighting. They're just go 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 go.
but like I
You know?
think the best like honestly, like Zack Snyder did such a fantastic job in Man of Steel. Like
Mhm.
like the writing for that like that's one of that actually, other than like nostalgic reasons, right? Like Superman #2 will always be my all-time favorite
Oh yeah.
superhero film.
Mhm.
But Man of Steel is like right there, like right next to it, and it's just because like just the complexities that were just in a short amount of scenes. Like I'm talking from when Clark was first battling Zod to when he took down the all the Genesis pods to when he unalived Zod.
Or and then also when
Yeah,
his dad when he didn't save his dad with the tornado.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know.
like no, but like just in that short amount of scenes, right? Like you're talking like within like a 15-20 minute window, right? Like
Mhm.
Clark in that instance had to choose between uh being with people. Remember, because Clark was bullied his entire life, and we saw that through the flashbacks. And
Yeah.
like the only person on Earth that he truly cared about at that moment was his mother, right? Everybody else, he was just trying to find his way. And on the flip side, he could be with a group of people that not only will understand him, but will welcome him because he is part of a major house. And had to but he chose to sacrifice and his actual lineage for a group of a species that is inferior
Yeah.
technically to Kryptonians,
Nobody's.
right? Yeah, and he sacrificed everything for them, while at
Mm.
the same time still never being able to truly engross himself into his own heritage, into his own culture, into his own people, right? At least like in the film.
Right.
So
Yeah, and like, imagine like that was like the first time you're meeting your own people, like ever, you know,
and
and you gotta
I just
choose.
don't think yeah, like I just don't think James Gunn has
But
the
okay,
bandwidth for it,
let me try to defend him. He did Guardians 3, right?
right?
So I mean, I don't. I guess it was somewhat dark, but like he can show, like he can tap into like the not so funny, side of movies and show like the darker
He
tone of.
also, but he also did what's it called, Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah, but I feel like Suicide Squad's supposed to be, he.
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, a couple of
But
people.
and it's also like, I mean, he's probably just saying it just to appease the crowd, but he is like a fellow DC lover, and he has said on record like I want to try to keep everything as close as I can to source material. So
But yet
yeah,
he
he
still
is a jokester, but like, don't you think he can kind of maybe
I
say,
think
hey, I
I,
don't want it to
if
be
you
funny.
I don't know. I feel like he's also a people pleaser from like the Marvel movies and everything too. So like, if he could actually, 'cause I'm not saying he's a bad director. I'm just
But he's
saying
also
that
not directing every single movie though, so
yeah, like
right,
it
but
just
it's still his vision.
yeah.
that's true.
So if he actually stays true to the storylines, the roots, and does not become a people pleaser, I'll no, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he is a good. He does like I will admit like the scenes he does have are amazing scenes. They are.
Mhm.
It's just the writing.
But like in
So
this day and age, do you think any director, I should say maybe for superheroes, do you think they can make a movie where it's more about the source than people pleasing?
I believe they can. The also another good question you have to think about is if the studio is gonna go
Allow
through
it.
with it too. You
Which is
know,
Warner Brothers.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's the reason why Zack Snyder had so much like, especially with Superman versus Batman. You
Mhm.
know, Justice League. There was so much pushback he was getting from WB. I remember they're like, "Oh no, it's too long. Shorten it. Oh, it's too dark. You gotta make it light." Like they,
Yeah, he had to
they,
take out so many scenes. He had to
yeah,
change the
like
plot. He had to rewrite. He had to reshoot.
But
exactly. So
weren't most of those people fired though? Like, isn't there like a whole new crew in the Warner
Yeah,
Brothers
but
side?
Warner Brothers is incompetent on probably every single level.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah, it's
really
like
difficult.
yeah, because like I remember people saying because people did not like their first Justice League, but then when they watched the Zack Snyder's
Snyder
version, they're like,
version.
"Oh wow, this is a different movie. This
Wait,
is so
literally,
much better." Like
Yeah, the
I actually
Snyder
like
cut
it.
was better.
I'm just like, thank
significantly.
you. You know, this is what happens when you let the man do his job. You know, let him do what he knows. Let him
Let him
cook.
cook.
You know.
Let 'em cook.
Like, goddamn, you pay him to do his job, and you're telling him not like it's like literally getting freaking
Like getting a chef and telling
Like,
him how
so-
you
like,
want him to cook your
yeah.
meal.
or
Yeah.
grabbing like Stephen Curry and telling him how to shoot a 3-pointer. You know, like no, you get him, let him do what he does. You
Yeah,
know,
Josh Whedon.
like,
Josh
No, we won't even go into that
Remember.
one. That's a whole can of
Remember,
worms.
it's his
God.
fault.
oh god, yeah, dude.
Yeah, but I will say, if James Gunn can bring in the side of DC that when I read the comics, I'm like, yeah, this is 100% DC.
Mhm.
I will be beyond stoked.
Because
But-
his first stuff is what, the animated show and then Superman Legacy, right? Or whatever he's calling it.
I don't know what his first stuff is actually.
Well, next year, excuse me, he's doing a animated show that's tying into like the actual universe, and I think it's coming out next or 2024. And then Superman, the live action, I don't know why I'm saying that, is 2025. So, and so now from here on out, it's going to be James Gunn.
Oh
That's
no,
what
I think he
everyone's
can. I think he can basically do it. I don't know if he'll be like Kevin Feige at the beginning when he was just popping off. But go ahead.
I swear, if he tries to bring in a major event before bringing enough characters in, I'm a re.
Well,
I'm just
no,
letting you know now.
I mean, technically they can, and like there's a few storylines that they can use
Mhm.
to actually make that. a
Which one? Like,
possibility.
which ones?
The center. So when they're essentially they're facing off against Starro.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say like the Justice League Frontier.
Yeah, they could do
Yeah,
that.
Frontier.
They can
Yeah.
even give us an actual Justice League War. They can give us let's see, what would be another good event to kind of pull everybody in. They can actually pretty much just those two, just because then I feel like anything else we would try to do, like any other kind of crisis,
Yeah. No, it
it
wouldn't
involves
work.
it involves too much backstory.
They start doing
not-
Crisis on Infinite Earths day one.
No way.
Dark Side War.
Yeah. Brightest day, darkest night. You know?
Bro, honestly, if they can do a Blackest Night series, like
Dude.
Oh, Blackest Night. Did I say Darkest
Oh.
Night? Blackest Night.
That's bad.
Blackest Night, dude, that will be 100% one of the best. Like that's one of the best stories that you could ever tell, dude. Between that, Heroes in Crisis, Crisis on Infinite Earths, you have Crisis on Two Earths. Like there's so many things that they can do eventually when they put everybody together.
But this is if they stay with the source material.
yeah, that's if they stay. That's the key thing.
Oh,
right?
correct.
They're gonna have to stay with it.
Chris, I got a good question for you.
Hmm.
If you could make your own cast for a Justice League Kingdom movie, who would you choose as
Kingdom.
your actor? Yeah, the
Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come.
Oof,
That's a loaded question. Why would you ask that?
that's hard, dude.
Who would you cast? You free reign to choose any actor and actress, but it has to be from like this age, so like
Okay.
they're like this time.
Oh, I would keep Henry Cavill as Superman, just because I feel like he's aged up enough to kind of play that role.
Okay.
Okay.
Still sexy.
Give him,
Yeah.
give him a little grace here and there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. For Wonder Woman, ooh, that's hard, dude. As an actress, can I add contingencies to this?
Yes.
Okay. Because here's the thing: if Kate Beckinsale, right, can tan and put on like 15 pounds of muscle, done deal.
Okay. Let's
Done
keep
deal.
dreaming. Oh my
You
god.
said I got free reign.
Yeah,
You're
that's
right. Yeah,
true.
yes, yeah.
Well, I mean, dude, people do put on people put on lose weight all the time. So
Yeah, naturally.
And
of course.
as Batman, ooh, dude, that's
Ben Affleck.
hard because
Oh,
because
I was gonna say
well,
bring back Christian Bale.
I was gonna say if Ben Affleck is mentally okay at that point, I'd be okay with Ben Affleck
Hey,
Wow.
you also gotta choose
I
an
would-
Alfred, Chris. You gotta choose an Alfred too.
An Alfred?
Yes, because I
Dude.
I love Alfred. I just want to know who you would choose because I don't think he's even alive in the Kingdom Come series.
No, he's not.
Damn.
Oh yeah, Batman's old as shit.
What?
I got like.
Yeah.
Alfred's
like-
like immortal.
yeah.
Yeah. He's a watcher.
Let's see. Shazam. You know who I would pick for Shazam at that point? The guy that's playing Reacher. What's his name?
What?
Stab? Cow? Dude, you pick
Yeah,
Stab
Stab.
for Blue Mountain State? Let's go! Bad Castle!
Oh,
That's what I
my
mean. Dude,
gosh.
have you seen Blue Castle? Blue Castle?
Yes.
Blue
Mountain,
Mountain
whatever?
State?
It's way
Dude.
better as
Yeah.
Reacher.
Yeah, but you're telling me you can't see him playing Shazam.
I could.
No, he's too tall and too big.
Do you
You'd be
know how
like,
big
dude,
Shazam is, bro?
I was just repeating what Chris said when I said he
You
should be
were
Batman.
very
I just want to see if it's still applied or not. I don't know.
Not to mention, he has the strength of Hercules. Come on,
but
man.
Batman can bench like 1,000
Power of
pounds.
Zeus.
On
No,
Kryptonite
Batman Max-
steroids?
I think Batman actually maxes out at 405 on bench.
No, it was Lex Luthor who benched 1,000 on the.
How come in the cartoons
Kryptonite.
Ben Affleck or Batman was benching like 6,000 plates on the cartoon though? Those look like
Yeah,
a lot
but
of plates.
I don't think they knew those plates were
Bro.
thick. Okay,
Were they
Like,
25s?
Listen, all those are just massive bumper plates. They're the old school stand ones, you know?
That's so funny.
How about your Green Lantern?
My Green Lantern, that's hard because like there's multiple in them. So if I'm gonna pick Hal Jordan, my gosh, I forget. I'm
Ryan
so bad with names.
Reynolds.
The guy, no, not as Hal, not as Hal. As for Hal Jordan, I would want who's the guy that played Wonder Woman's lover in the movies?
Oh, I know who you're
The
talking
guy from
about.
Dungeons
Oh
and
my
Dragons?
gosh.
Chris Pine?
Chris
Yes, there we
Pine?
go.
Yes, there you go, Chris Pine.
You know, that's not a bad choice.
Actually, yeah, for Hal Jordan,
yeah.
okay.
I'd go with him for Hal Jordan. See, that's hard, right? Because, or not Hal, or
Jon
yeah,
Stewart.
Jon
or
Stewart.
for Jon Stewart. That's hard because you have to find somebody that's like tall.
Idris
Like-
Elba?
I was about to just say that you beat me.
No,
to
he's
it.
in Suicide Squad.
I would
So-
love him. No,
It's
here's the-
multiverse, my guy.
Oh,
it
yeah,
doesn't
you're right.
matter.
You're right.
Here's the thing. I would love him if you can do an American accent though, because don't forget he's also a Marine Corps sniper.
Yeah.
That's true.
Hmm.
So see that's where it kind of gets hard, right?
The Rock.
Um,
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm
Please
about the guy from
Put the
Creed.
Rock in
Oh, the guy from
everything.
Creed.
Jonathan Majors?
Talking about
No.
Angel, he's in jail.
Oh, is he?
Too
I
late.
don't know. I didn't know.
He's literally fired from Marvel.
Re-
yeah,
Bro, I thought we told
No.
you what happened to him. All right. Podcast over. I need to go to sleep after
From
that one.
Creed? The actor from
My-
Creed?
Michael B. Jordan, who's you're talking about.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you.
I was like,
Michael B. Jordan. You know what? I just think he might be too young. But
I
if they
agree
could
with
age
that,
him up with makeup, but if they could age him up with makeup or CGI effects or whatever, that wouldn't be like a bad choice, you know.
Morgan
But
Freeman.
no, he's too old, bro. I love Morgan Freeman, but no. I forget.
What's
hold on,
his-
I'm trying to look.
there's-
I'm trying to look up his name.
What's the
Terry
guy's name who
Crews.
plays?
Terry?
Terry Crews? Yeah, that
No.
actually
No.
No,
would be
No.
interesting.
Don Cheadle? Nah, he's not big enough.
What about
what's his-
okay? I googled his name.
Mm.
His name is oh my gosh, I'm not gonna even try to.
Oh, how about Tyrese Gibson?
I'm gonna sound extremely offensive.
that? Oh no,
Don't do it.
No.
He's
no. I had the guy in mind. Have you guys watched Suits?
Yes.
No.
The show Suits.
I've seen clips and stuff.
No, yeah, the most I've seen is like TikTok where it's like a minute clip.
Oh, that does not help me. You know what? I'm gonna drop a link, and then you guys tell me if you know in the chat. All right. If I can go with this guy. this guy I think would play good.
What
Oh,
is
Okay.
this?
Oh yeah,
Handsome
I
black
know
Why are
that,
you using
yeah.
Bing
Yes.
first of all? Oh, him.
Hey,
Okay,
no
what
judgment.
about what about the wizard in Shazam? He's always in
I like-
comic book movies.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I like
think-
him for the wizard.
No, I think he could be perfect Green Lantern.
No, he's too old.
Okay. Why can't you just do makeup to make him look younger?
No, dude, no.
He's only like 50
No.
something.
Oh, yeah, no. But you know who I would love? I know this is
Ronnie
kind of a weird
Coleman.
choice for the Flash. Oh my gosh.
Ronnie
I don't know.
Coleman.
Okay.
Oh, Chris,
Dude's on crutches.
you know who would be cool to see as John Stewart, but he's way too big and I don't think he can act? Phil Heath.
Who?
Okay, let's stop.
Yeah, you know what? If he
Why?
dropped-
Because he's
if he
bald?
dropped 90 pounds, if you drop like 90
Dude,
pounds.
can you imagine him? Can you imagine? You say Green Lantern, like Phil Heath just
my
crying,
God.
just like that.
Massive.
I hate
I'll be
this
scared.
so much. I hate this
All
so
right.
much. What about the Flash? Let's move on.
Okay,
You know,
so the Flash, this is hard, dude, because
Oh, if Flash with that, yeah, Flash is a hard person to choose.
so you know what? This is gonna be a weird choice, and I know it's a weird choice, but I think he could pull it off just because of his personality and his acting skills. Is Ryan Reynolds?
as the Flash.
No,
that's
I
interesting.
can't.
Yeah.
Every time I hear his
His
voice,
face?
it's Deadpool.
His face, I just can't see him as Flash. I don't know why.
You didn't like
he's
Ezra
too
Miller?
iconic.
No, that's a serious question. You didn't like him as the Flash?
Chris.
Minus the
I thought-
controversies.
I thought his mannerisms and everything were good. I think the movie
He's
was
not
just
blonde.
poorly done. That movie was just. I wanted to
You
cry.
want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Or you know what? No, I do like my choice with Ryan Reynolds though. And just because like of the type of acting he does, I think he would do really, really well. And
Yeah,
playing, like, a
I get
goofy-
what you mean. It's just because he's so
No.
iconic. It's just so hard to picture him.
He's
as it.
Deadpool.
No.
Like every time you hear him, like Detective Pikachu. he's
Ryan
just Deadpool.
Gosling. I'm
No,
just kidding.
he's
No,
Kevin.
you know what? Ryan Gosling, I do like him as a Ray Gardner though.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
I actually, wow,
You know?
that's spot on.
So that's another one I was actually gonna go with.
So who
But
is
yeah,
your
dude, like-
Hawk Girl?
Hot Girl. See, like that's another.
All
hard
right,
one,
we're
because
just
you know
gonna
what?
start naming the whole multiverse.
Yeah,
here.
let's
No,
continue.
they're part of the Kingdom Come series.
Oh,
They're
no,
the
I
original-
know,
I know,
we're
but this
gonna
has
start
nothing to
naming
do
every
with
single-
the year. This is like
We
20
gotta
years
do a
from
whole
now.
sidetrack, yeah.
Jeez.
Kingdom Come will be
I would-
when we're as old as like everyone
Yeah.
in there.
When our kids have kids is when we'll talk about this
yeah.
again, okay, guys?
True.
Oh my gosh, I don't even
We'll
remember.
be
what
here
we
for the
were
next
talking about in
hour.
the
Yeah.
podcast.
Well, anyways, it was just mainly the state of the industry, just kind of like things kind of falling apart, failing. Well, movies is just failing in general. It seems like, well,
TV
to
shows,
capture the
originality
audience.
Well,
Yeah,
technically,
there's also like no originality.
well,
really, these days.
technically, this is the most profitable year since COVID.
Well,
Yeah.
So,
Well, I would hope so.
Well, I
They made, like,
Technically.
3 pennies and like
I
They
think
made,
you know, bag of
a lot of
chips
majority
or
was
whatever.
kids movies. I bet a lot of it was also a lot of kids movies. You know, like the Super Mario Bros. Movie came out. this
Yeah,
year, too,
Super
you know?
Mario's did pop off.
So like,
But
I
that's
feel
actually good. Deserved it.
yeah.
that was a good
Yeah.
movie.
Hmm.
I just think the way to go now is indie movies. That's it. No more big budget.
Yep. But the
whatever.
issue with indie movies, though, dude, is that because all the different streaming platforms, who's gonna get the rights to like
Yeah,
you
that's
know
true.
certain movies, and then we're gonna have to buy all these. I mean, granted, most of us already do buy all these streaming services, but like
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much more that's growing. Like Paramount has their own thing. I'm sure Legendary eventually is gonna get their own streaming service for whatever reason, and it's just
Well, I don't
Yeah,
think so.
I-
It-
I
well,
miss
TV.
no,
I
HBO and Paramount might be combining in a few years, or maybe even next year. So,
Oh my god.
Okay.
so no more
better.
Paramount.
It should just be like
Ugh.
Netflix, HBO, and then like Apple or whatever.
True.
Like it really should just be like 3 or 4 at this point. Because
Well, it's
and then
kind of going that way because Disney's
Yeah.
is Disney, Hulu, Netflix is Netflix, Apple's can stay the same, but HBO is gonna be buying out. Well, it bought out Discovery, now it's buying out Paramount. So it's like they are starting to lose services. Woo! So we just have to pay just like maybe $2 more for even more movies. So, but yeah, I
Netflix
think
is $25 a month.
yeah, it's extremely expensive, but I will give credit to Netflix. Their movies have been popping off lately. So
Finally,
they've been
because
adding some
they-
good movies.
They've
Like-
been having some crap over the past few years, man.
well,
so it's
just
about
think about it,
time.
like even like the TV shows are popping off. Like I'm gonna go ahead and shout out One Piece and Yu Yu Hakusho. Like they finally bringing their act together.
Oh yeah, I guess.
No,
Separate
Chris,
the
Chris,
mediums.
it's doing it. It's doing it. It's doing its job of bringing them to the actual anime and mangas.
Yes,
Chris.
because
Bringing
I
them
saw
to
I
it.
saw One Piece live action. Is like, you know what? I'm gonna watch the anime. And when I
Exactly.
watched the
I'm
Yu
so
Yu
happy!
and when I watched the Yu Yu Hakusho, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to rewatch the anime because I don't remember nothing.
Dude,
So it's doing its job.
yeah. See,
I guess.
that's why the only reason why I'm not bashing the live actions as much because I'm separating them. But man,
Yes.
it's hard.
Or would you rather have Death Note again?
Oh
No.
god, is he? See, like that's why. You know what? I'm actually very excited for the Avatar that's coming out. So
Same.
That's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I just think indie movies is the way to go because everything else
No,
just
I
sucks.
agree because like Rebel Moon, I know a lot of people talk crap on it because people are saying it's just a rip off Star Wars thing or whatever.
Which it is.
but was
Yeah,
it a good
but,
ripoff?
Yes, in
I
my
think so.
opinion, it absolutely was.
We
But
were
here's the thing-
supposed to see
We were
it, but
supposed to watch it, but
Yeah, but like here's anyways, but like the thing is Zack Snyder essentially wrote this piece for a Star Wars film because
Yep.
he's always wanted to, but Disney shut him down, was like, no, this is too dark.
yep, that's exactly piece of
And
shit.
I-
Lucasfilms.
And I'm
or
like,
Zack
why?
Snyder.
Yeah.
Oh, so it
yeah,
was a good
dude,
movie though.
yeah, I enjoyed it.
I'll have to watch
Just
it.
keep in mind it's a series, so you're not gonna get all your answered questions.
Well, it's only 2 movies, so
Yeah. Well, it's essentially it gives me like a Dune / Star Wars Episode 3 vibe.
that's what kind of looked like, and from like what I saw from the little
Dune
previews that I
Episode
saw.
3. Okay, so Episode 3 of the prequel or Episode 6?
Episode 3 of the prequel.
Holy cow! All right, I'm watching that then. Well, I was going to anyways, but anyway, you know.
Yeah, it kind of gave me that it kind of gave me that same feel like
That's a
it's
bold
not-
statement.
but it is really well done. Like I really enjoyed it. But then again, I do like a lot of Zack Snyder films.
Mm.
Like
You got a
I-
fanboy over here. Opinion invalid.
yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, dude. He gave us Sin City. He gave us 300. Man of Steel.
Oh, he
Oh.
got the rights to 300 again, by the way.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
So part 2, 600, 300 times 2.
Well, it's part
Oh,
3,
yeah.
so it's
There- there's
900.
Oh, there is a second 300 movie already.
Yeah, so that's part 3. But
Yeah.
did you guys see any like indie movies that's not Rebel Moon?
What's
Mm.
what are indie? So this the
Indie movies are usually not, you know,
Like, was it like A24?
A24.
I watched Leave the World Behind. Is that an indie movie?
Believe so, and it usually wins like Sundance Festival, like Asteroid City. I don't know if you guys saw Asteroid City. Ricky saw
Yeah,
it.
I saw that.
Yeah,
Like,
and
that movie's
but
phenomenal.
it's on Netflix. The Leave the World Behind. It just came out not too long ago. It's good and a little too surreal because I'm like, shit, that could actually happen any day. So,
So it just gave you that existential dread.
yeah,
Turns
you're
off
like,
movie.
you're like, well, shit. All right.
Yeah, you
How to
guys
put the
should.
gamer,
You guys
how to
should
put the
yeah.
gamer juice away for that one. You're like,
Yeah, you guys should
Kinda
watch
like the
Asteroid
movie,
City
though.
though. Like what?
I heard it was
Go ahead.
weird. I heard someone told it was really weird, but almost like
Yeah, but it's really good.
That's
Like
an indie movie. Though.
have you
Oh,
seen
this
have you
one's, like,
seen
all
any
indie movies.
Wes Anderson movie? Like besides that one?
Yes.
Fantastic Mr. Fox is a Wes Anderson movie, right? I always
Correct.
forget. Yes.
Yes.
Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yes. That one I
Uh,
was 100% confused.
Yes.
During that entire movie.
Because so I'm just saying because on Netflix they have Asteroid City, and then he did like 3 or 4 like short movies, and that's like really good. Like it's only like 15 to 30 minutes, but those are like A lot better
Top
than
notch.
most. Yeah, a lot better than most movies that came out.
Full
I would say.
feature length films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The only indie movie I watched other than Rebel Moon, apparently, because I'm looking at a list, because I'm like, I don't know what I even watched that was an indie
Mhm.
film, was
Uh,
Infinity Pool.
the heck is that?
It's a horror film.
Mm.
Yeah.
And was it good?
It was horrifying. It was really good.
Really?
Yeah. It's definitely not for the faint of heart though. Like it gives, imagine Mad Max, okay,
Uh-huh.
meets House of a Thousand Corpses.
Holy, and it's called what?
Ooh.
Infinity Pool?
Oh, and Hostel. Kind of like, yeah.
Let me. Well, just
Dude,
that one image looks
Hostel
scary.
scared me.
Yeah.
All right, I will not be watching that.
All right, now we know what to avoid.
Yep.
But I think that kind of wraps everything up. I think we've been
Yep.
talking for quite some time now. So if you enjoyed today's episode, we very much appreciate if you leave a like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're on your preferred podcast listening platform, give us a thumbs up, a heart, however it works on there. Any and all support is appreciated. Shout out to our cousins for coming on the show. Chris, you want to kind of slide in and promote yourself?
Yep.
Sure, if you want to follow me on my socials, about fitness, you can follow me at Chris Monhe underscore, or if you're an anime fan, feel free to watch our YouTube channel at Subculture TV.
Nice.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.
Deuces.